Listen carefully, because what I'm about to say could literally change the way you look at the coins in your pocket forever. Right now, as you're watching this, there's a very real chance you've already spent a silent fortune without even noticing it. These are not rare museum pieces. These are everyday Australian coins, the kind you get as change, the kind you don't even look at twice. But hidden inside that ordinary loose change is something nobody talks about. Hidden wealth, real auction shock, and collectors who are quietly fighting over coins people are accidentally throwing away. I'm warning you right now. Do not spend these coins. Check your pocket now. Because every coin we go through gets rarer, more dangerous to ignore, and way more valuable. And what's waiting at the end? It's something most people will never even believe exists. Coin number 1. There's a specific kind of mistake people make with this coin, and it costs them thousands. Not because they don't care, but because they look at it and think it's just dirty. Just worn. Just another old $2 coin. That's exactly how fortunes get lost. Because this 2010 Australian $2 coin, especially the ones showing those strange brown dots on the reverse, is not just circulation wear. It's a silent signal. A quiet marker of something much deeper, something collectors immediately recognize, and most people completely ignore. And here's where it gets serious. The year 2010 wasn't just another year for Australia. The country was riding the aftershock of the global financial crisis. Economies were stabilizing, but pressure was still everywhere, including at the mint. Production speeds were pushed, demand for circulating coins stayed high, and subtle changes in metal behavior and die fatigue started showing up in ways nobody expected. That pressure created opportunity. Coins from this period, especially the $2 pieces, began showing irregular surface reactions. Those brown dots, they're not random dirt. They're part of a chemical and environmental interaction with the aluminum-bronze composition, 92% copper, 6% aluminum, and 2% nickel, reacting over time in a very specific way. But here's the twist. Not all coins reacted like this. Only a small fraction developed these distinct brown spotting patterns in a way that collectors now hunt for obsessively. The pattern, the spread, the tone, it all matters. And when it's right, when it's authentic, it transforms an ordinary coin into something much more dangerous to ignore. Now look at the coin itself. On the obverse, you've got Queen Elizabeth II, clean profile, standard portrait by Ian Rank Broadley. Nothing unusual at first glance, but flip it. And that's where everything changes. The reverse shows the iconic Aboriginal elder design, surrounded by Southern Cross stars. But in these rare examples, the surface isn't uniform. It's uneven. Slightly aged, marked with brown toning dots that almost look like imperfections. Collectors don't see flaws. They see character. They see originality. They see a coin that has not been cleaned, not been polished, not been destroyed by someone trying to make it look better. Because here's the brutal truth. The moment you clean this coin, you kill its value. Instantly. Permanently. No second chances. And most people do exactly that. They scrub it. They shine it. They erase the very thing that made it valuable in the first place. This is not just a coin, it's a test. Now let's talk about how it feels. Because serious collectors don't just look, they handle. This coin weighs exactly 6.6 grams. Diameter sits at 20.5 millimeters. Thickness is around 3 millimeters. Thick, solid, unmistakable in the hand. The girth has that signature heavy edge feel that instantly separates it from smaller denominations. It doesn't feel cheap. It feels important. And over time, with circulation stress, micro-friction, and environmental exposure, certain coins developed these unique surface characteristics that now signal rarity. But here's why survival is rare. Most of these coins didn't make it. They were spent, scratched, cleaned, damaged, or melted into nothingness of value. Only a tiny percentage survived in very fine condition, with the original surface intact, the brown dot toning visible, and the details still sharp enough to attract serious attention. And that's where collectors become different. They don't casually buy these coins. They compete. Quietly. Aggressively. Patiently. When one of these shows up in the market, especially properly graded, it doesn't sit around. It creates tension. Bidding wars that don't always look loud, but behind the scenes, collectors are watching closely, waiting for the right moment. Because they know something most people don't. Supply is shrinking. Demand is rising. And coins like this? They're being held, not sold. That's how silent fortunes are built. Now let's talk value. And this is where it stops feeling like a hobby and starts feeling like a missed opportunity. In today's market, a 2010 Australia $2 coin with those distinct brown dot features, preserved in very fine condition, has reached values around $112,730. Let that sink in. A coin people are still spending, worth serious money. This is not fiction. This is hidden wealth, sitting in plain sight. So what should you do? First, check your coins. Slowly, carefully. Don't rush. Look for surface detail. Look for those brown toning spots. Don't assume it's damage. Second, never clean it. I don't care how dirty it looks. That dirt could be your entire value. Third, if you think you've found something, get it professionally graded. Authentication is everything at this level. And finally, be patient. Because the biggest mistake people make is letting go too early. Do not spend this coin. Because once it's gone, it's gone. And what's coming next makes this coin look ordinary. The next coin isn't just rare. It's something collectors are almost afraid to talk about because of what it's already sold for. Stay with me. Next up, most people don't even notice this coin. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Because the 2005 Australian $2 coin I'm about to show you doesn't scream value. It whispers it. It hides it. It waits for someone careless enough to ignore it, and then it disappears back into circulation like nothing ever happened. And if you're not paying attention right now, that someone might be you. This isn't about scratches. This isn't about obvious errors. This is about a look, a very specific yellowish glow that only shows up on certain 2005 $2 coins in uncirculated condition. And when collectors see it, they don't hesitate. They lock in. They chase. They don't let go. Because this detail, this one subtle shift in color, changes everything. Now go back to 2005 for a second. Australia was in a strong economic phase. Mining boom gaining momentum, global demand rising, currency confidence building. But with that came pressure on coin production. The Royal Australian Mint had to keep up with circulation demand, and when that happens, something always slips through the cracks. Metal consistency. The standard composition, 92% copper, 6% aluminum, 2% nickel, should produce a stable golden tone. But under certain conditions, slight variations in alloy mixing, temperature, or even cooling rates can shift the final appearance. That's where this yellowish tone comes from. Not bright gold, not dull bronze. Something in between, something off, something that shouldn't stand out, but does. And here's the catch. Only a very limited number of these coins came out with that distinct appearance and survived in uncirculated condition. That's the real rarity. Because most 2005 coins, they were used, dropped, scratched, worn down until that original surface was completely gone. But the ones that weren't touched, the ones that stayed clean, sharp, untouched by human hands, those are the ones collectors obsess over. Now look closely at the design. On the front, Queen Elizabeth II, right-facing portrait. Clean fields, sharp lettering, no distortion. In uncirculated condition, the detail is almost intimidating. Every line is crisp. Every edge feels untouched by time. Flip it. The reverse, the iconic Aboriginal elder design, radiating lines, Southern Cross stars. But on these specific coins, that yellowish tone gives the entire surface a warmer, richer glow. It almost looks alive under light. Not faded, not dull, but enhanced in a way that feels accidental and rare. Collectors don't just see beauty here. They see originality frozen in time. Now hold it in your mind, or if you're lucky, in your hand. 6.6 grams of solid metal, 20.5 millimeters in diameter, around 3 millimeters thick. A thick, compact structure that feels heavier than it should. The edge grip, the girth, it's unmistakable. This isn't loose change. This is potential. But here's where people make the biggest mistake. They think uncirculated just means looks new. No. Uncirculated means untouched. No wear. No friction. No cleaning. No polishing. No fingerprints embedded into the metal over time. And the moment you try to improve it, you destroy it. Completely. That natural yellowish tone? Gone. That original mint surface? Gone. That six-figure value? Gone. Forever. This is why collectors are so intense about condition. Because once it's lost, it never comes back. And here's something most people miss. This detail changes everything. There is no mint mark on these coins, which means identification doesn't come easy. You can't rely on a letter. You can't rely on a symbol. You have to rely on your eye, on your patience, on your willingness to not rush. And most people fail right there. They don't slow down. They don't compare. They don't question. They just spend it. And that's why coins like this keep slipping through the cracks, disappearing into everyday transactions while collectors sit quietly, waiting to catch them before they vanish again. Because when one of these appears in the market, it doesn't sit unnoticed. It creates tension. Private collectors watch closely. Dealers move carefully. There's no panic, just controlled, calculated interest, because everyone knows the same thing. There aren't many left like this. Uncirculated, untouched, original. And that's why the demand keeps rising while supply quietly collapses. Now let's talk about what this actually means for you. Because this isn't small money. This isn't a quick flip. This is a life-changing opportunity hiding in plain sight. A 2005 Australian $2 coin with that distinct yellowish tone, preserved in true uncirculated condition, has reached market values around $138,520. Read that again. A coin people are still handing over at stores, worth more than most people's yearly income. That's not hype. That's reality. That's silent fortune. And right now, it could be sitting in your drawer, your wallet, your car, completely ignored. So here's what you do. First, stop rushing. Go check your coins one by one. Second, look for that tone. Not shiny, not dull, but something different. Third, do not clean it. Don't even think about it. Fourth, if it feels right, get it professionally graded. Because at this level, proof matters. And finally, hold it. Because the real winners in this space aren't the ones who find coins. They're the ones who understand what they're holding. Do not spend this coin. Because once you do, you're not just losing money. You're losing something most people will never even realize they had. And what's coming next isn't just rare. It's the kind of coin that makes collectors question everything they thought they knew about Australian currency. Next up, this one is where people usually stop paying attention, and that's exactly why it becomes dangerous. Because the 2005 Australia 10-cent coin with that tiny black dot on the front doesn't look valuable at all. In fact, most people would think it's just damage. Something caused by dirt, time, or circulation wear. And in the worst-case scenario, they wipe it, clean it, or spend it without a second thought. That single mistake has cost collectors more money than you can imagine. Because this isn't just a mark. It's a signal. And in rare cases like this 2005 10-cent coin, that small black dot becomes the difference between pocket change and a six-figure hidden asset. Now imagine holding it for a second. A coin so small, so common, so overlooked, yet quietly carrying a market value that has reached around $156,520 in rare verified fine condition examples with this exact anomaly. That's not normal. That's not everyday currency anymore. That's something else entirely. And it all starts with the year 2005. Back then, Australia's economy was stable, growing, and heavily supported by resource exports. The Royal Australian Mint was producing massive volumes of circulating coinage to support everyday transactions. When production demand rises like that, small inconsistencies can slip through the system. Not major errors, but micro-level variations that only become valuable later when collectors start studying them. And this is where things get interesting. The standard 10-cent coin is made from cupronickel, 75% copper and 25% nickel. A durable, silvery metal blend designed to resist wear and corrosion. But even in stable alloys, tiny contamination during striking dye residue or environmental exposure during early mint handling can create surface anomalies. And that's where the black dot appears. Not printed. Not designed. Not intentional. It forms in a way that looks random, but repeats just enough in certain verified examples to make collectors pay attention. Now let's break the coin down properly. On the obverse side, you have Queen Elizabeth II, calm, standard portrait, facing right. In fine condition, the facial lines still hold clarity, the rim lettering is readable, and the surface still carries that soft, metallic shine. But what matters here is not the portrait. It's the tiny interruption near it. That black dot. Small. Dark. Almost easy to miss. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Flip the coin over, and you get the familiar lyrebird design, the iconic Australian 10-cent reverse. Clean lines, natural wildlife engraving, and balanced radial detail. In most coins, this side is predictable. But in rare specimens like this one, the contrast between the clean silver tone and that isolated dark mark creates a visual imbalance that collectors instantly recognize. Because rarity is not always about complexity. Sometimes it's about a single flaw that shouldn't exist. Now let's talk physical reality, because serious collectors always go beyond appearance. This coin weighs 5.65 grams. Diameter is 23.60 millimeters. Thickness sits around 2.4 millimeters. It feels light in the hand, almost easy to ignore, which is exactly why it gets spent so easily. And that's the tragedy. People don't respect small coins. They don't inspect them. They don't question them. They just move them along. But in this case, that habit destroys value. Because once this coin enters circulation wear cycles, scratches, oxidation, cleaning, chemical exposure, that black dot either disappears or becomes impossible to verify as original mint-related toning. And collectors don't gamble on uncertainty. They pay for clarity. Now here's where demand becomes intense. Coins like this don't sit in open markets for long. They move quietly between collectors, private listings, and specialized dealers. There's no loud auction chaos most of the time, just silent competition. People watching, waiting, deciding fast. Because they know something important. Survival rate is extremely low. Not because the coin is rare in production, but because it's rare in survival condition with that exact identifiable mark intact. Most were spent. Most were cleaned. Most were damaged beyond recognition. That's why fine condition examples with this feature are so heavily valued. And this is where emotion enters the collector mindset. They don't just see metal. They see missed opportunities. They see coins that escaped attention for decades. They see something that most people literally threw away. And that creates obsession. Now let's bring it back to value. A verified 2005 Australia 10-cent coin with this distinct black dot feature in fine condition has reached market attention around $156,520 in high-demand collector circles. That's not a casual estimate. That's competitive collector pressure. That's scarcity meeting obsession. That's hidden wealth sitting in circulation for years unnoticed. But here's the most important warning in this entire coin. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not try to remove the mark. Because if that black dot is authentic and part of the coin's recognized variation, removing or altering its surface destroys its identity completely. And without identity, there is no value. Only metal. Only scrap. If you find something like this, your first step is simple. Stop treating it like spending money. Second, handle it minimally. No rubbing. No chemicals. No experiments. Third, get it checked professionally under proper magnification and grading standards. Because at this level, guessing is expensive. And finally, understand something most people never realize. Coins like this don't become valuable because they are perfect. They become valuable because they are missed by everyone else. And right now, there could be more sitting in pockets, jars, and cash registers across Australia and beyond, waiting for someone to notice what everyone else ignored. So, if you're still holding coins without looking closely, you might already be letting go of silent fortunes without even knowing it. Do not spend this coin. Because once it's gone into circulation, it rarely comes back. And what's coming next is even more unsettling, because the next coin doesn't just hide value, it hides a mistake so rare, collectors argue whether it should even exist at all.